Hiya, and welcome to today's episode of Spirit of Creating. And today I wanted to speak about the words and thoughts that are complete dream killers. So, when you have the idea of something new that you want to create, a lot of the times the thought will end with, I would love to do whatever it is, but I can't because I'm too old, I'm too late, I'm too inexperienced. And the issue I have with that notion of being too anything is that it puts a dead end to anything you want to achieve. So as soon as you say, I'd like to do something, but I can't, you've put the power completely outside of yourself. You've given all the power over to age or time or experience. And the only thing that really does is guarantee that you can never be successful in that arena because you will never even attempt to do anything in it. So it's zero attempt and a zero success rate because you've just handed over all volition and power to the notion that you can't because of something outside of yourself. And it made me think because when I first started illustrating Rain, I was 38, so I wasn't young. I was self taught, so I had no background in art. I didn't have a degree in business, it was in sociology, and I wasn't really experienced in the art field. And starting a new career at that age is probably not considered on time, it's probably considered kind of late. And if I had listened to all of those thoughts, I would never have even began because there'd be no point. I'd have given myself a litany of all the reasons why this couldn't work, and then I wouldn't make any attempt. So even though I was of a certain age and lacked certain experience, the calling to want to be an artist and create a business out of it was pretty strong. And so there was a follow through that occurred because as soon as you don't pay attention to those thoughts, you have to take some form of action. It holds you accountable because you want something that you haven't got yet and you're trying to persuade yourself you can't have. So a lot of those thoughts that I had about not being experienced enough or not being on time or not having the right background had to really just be ignored. And then I had to just move forward and take it a step at a time. And I would rather have had the idea and followed it through and made attempts and failed rather than sat back and said, well, I'm too late and I'm too old and I don't have a background in art, so I'm just not going to try. Because that would have guaranteed that I would never have succeeded in any way, shape, or form. And along the way, I've had loads of bumps in the road and loads of ups and downs. It's not like some smooth sailing trip that you take. But I was in the game, which is the most important part. And when you give in to thinking that completely disempowers you and tells you that it's not possible, then the fact is you'll take no action. And then you kind of just leave yourself impotent, as if you have no volition in your life and in your desires and in moving into making dreams a bit more of a reality than they are. So I wanted to talk about the idea of pivoting your perspective. So as much as you might fully believe that you are too old or you're too late, if you just flipped it and then just thought, look, what if I'm exactly the age I'm meant to be? What if I've got exactly the right experience I'm meant to have? And what if I can just have a go? Because you can. And whatever age you are and whatever experience you've got, the life you've lived up until now is always going to be beneficial. It's always going to lend itself. I had no experience in a lot of the fields I'm in now, but the experience I'd had working had given me insight and discipline and a work ethic that works when you run your own business too. So everything lends itself to something new. Nothing's really completely afresh. And the truth is, when you're learning anything new, you just have Google and you use it to its maximum and you learn. You don't have to come ready made to something. You know, when you're wanting to fulfill a dream that you've had and if you've got no experience or background in it, you will be on a steep learning curve for a good few years, constantly, pretty much. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is no ready made end package where you come with all the skills you need and there'll never be any failure and you'll just be on a winning streak forevermore. It's the learning curve, it's an evolution. And when you think about life and the human body and nature and anything that's breathing and pulsating, it doesn't have dead ends. It evolves, it moves, it morphs, it shapeshifts. Cells breathe, neural pathways spark up new paths and they kill off old paths. things are evolving all the time. And that can be said for all of our ideas and our actions in life too. So the worst thing we can do is have an idea about something we want for ourselves and then come up with a thought that just literally kills it dead. And then no attempt is made at all to bring that to fruition. So all I'm asking is, if you've got something you really want to do, and when you think about it, you end with a sentence of, I'd love to do that, but I can't because, question the because. And even if you can't find the false nature of that thought, then play around with just different thoughts that would not only encourage you, but they will ask something of you, and they will ask some form of action from you and some accountability from you. So you will have to make moves, you will have to face failure, you will have to succeed and fail at the same time, you will have to do loads of learning. It's not like it's some kind of rosy path, but the other one is literally just strangling any dream you had and saying there was no point even trying. And there's nothing worse than not even having an attempt, because what's the point? If we're alive and we have these desires and callings, then the least we can do is have a go and make an attempt. And even if it doesn't work out the way you wanted to, you'll feel better because you'll think, at least I gave it a go, rather than just feeling like, well, I couldn't do anything about my age, or I couldn't do anything about my background, so hey ho, I didn't even try. That's not a good feeling, and that's not a good way of living. Because why? How many other things are you just halting in the midst because you don't want to entertain a new thought? Because the thought I am to anything is just a thought. There's not really any power behind it apart from the power you're giving it. So today's episode is really about thinking of something you want to do and pivoting your perspective on it. And if you want to let me know about any ideas you've got and any perspectives you'd like to pivot, I'm more than happy to help you find some new thinking around it. Then you can email me at illustratingray@gmail.com, and I will speak to you next week.